Hey, this is Derrick with the Diversity Center here in Georgia, and I'd like to thank you for joining our webinar on how to make six figures or more teaching court-mandated classes. Now, I've been doing this work for 10 years, and I've been an entrepreneur owning my own treatment facility for 8 years now. So if you'd like to look me up, you can look me up on psychologytoday.com or www.thediversitycenter.com, or look me up on YouTube, all right, because I have a ton of content. So if you're excited about learning about teaching court-mandated classes, I want you to get out a piece of paper, and I want you to get out a pen or pull out your computer and get ready to take a ton of notes, because there will not be fluff in this webinar. I'm going to give you a ton of value, okay? A lot of great information that most people will not tell you. I promise you this today. So take some time out, get your paper, get your pen, and let's get ready, all right? So real quick, if you do not mind, I'd like to tell you a story about how I got introduced to court mandated classes. So back in 2004, this is my mugshot right here. I was arrested for selling bootleg DVDs and CDs. And from this experience, my attorney just told me to get a substance abuse evaluation. And I got this evaluation, but I failed it royally because I tested positive for cocaine. And I was introduced to cocaine while working in the restaurant industry. And my family, my friends, they didn't know that I was using cocaine, and I kept it a secret. But if you know anything about working in the restaurant industry, there's people that use drugs and all kinds of stuff. And I was partying, I was working 14-hour shifts, and it became a vicious cycle, and I developed a bit of a habit. And going to these classes was actually a blessing in disguise, because I got introduced to this business. And I'm gonna be honest with you, my first 2 weeks there, I did not want to be there. I was like this the whole time. I was like, oh no, what are you going to teach me? There's nothing you can teach me. I do not want to be here. But my counselor, man, he was so good, and he helped me get through my process of getting past my barriers. And I was like, man, you know what? I can do this work, because I have a heart for people. I know what it's like to use drugs. All right. I know what it's like to struggle with things. And he broke through that, and it actually helped me. And I honestly started enjoying classes. And I was like, you know what? One day, I'm going to open up a facility just like this. Now, I asked him at the time, I was like, how do you do this? But he didn't want to tell me. He didn't want to give me the information. So, but later on, I ended up finding out the information, and I'm here to help you get this information today, right now in this webinar. So fast forward 2008, in the heat of the recession, I was struggling. I did not have a job. I didn't know what was going on. My girlfriend was living with me at the time, and she was paying the bills because she had a job, and I didn't have a job. But at the time, I was studying to be an alcohol and drug counselor, because I knew I wanted to do this type of work. And I got an opportunity from one of my old coworkers. He had opened up a DUI school, and he said, hey, Derrick, do you want to work at my DUI school teaching defensive driving classes or DUI classes? And he said, if you can get certified, I will give you a job. So I made it my mission to get certified, because I was tired of being broke. I said, you know, there's no way I could let my girlfriend keep paying these bills, because I'm trying to marry her. That was my goal. I wanted to marry my wife that I have now. And I said, you know what? I have to prove to my wife's parents that I could be a provider. And that was the main thing that drove me to study every single day, to get my certifications, to get my credentials, so I could do this work. So I started teaching at the DUI school, and I was doing extremely well. The clients loved me. I was developing rapport, and they was like, man, you're doing pretty good at this, right? So I started building my confidence. I'm like, man, this is pretty good. I'm getting really good at this. But I was noticing I was making the owner a lot of money. He's my friend, but I was also noticing, like, man, I'm making this guy a lot of money. So I was like, you know what? Let me step out on faith and do this on my own. Now, when I say this, I was only working part-time, all right? Teaching defensive driving classes and DUI classes. When I stepped out on faith, I didn't have any money. I didn't have any income coming in. And before that, I was making what, $333 a month in unemployment, and then it had dwindled down to not a month, excuse me. I was making $330 a week on unemployment, and then it dwindled down to $100 a week in unemployment before I got the job at the DUI school. So fast forward, I end up opening up my own facility with literally no money. When I say no money, I'm talking about no money. Now you hear people saying this all the time. Oh, I started this with no money and I did this. And I'm like, BS, I don't believe you. Look, trust me when I tell you, you could call, ask my wife. I started this with no money. No one invested in me. I learned how to get creative. So I'm going to teach you guys how I got started and how I made 6 figures or more teaching court mandated classes. Now, let you guys know this real quick. It doesn't take a lot of time and money to do this. All it takes is follow through and passion and belief that you can do this work. And I'm telling you, if you have a heart for people, if you're good at teaching, if you're passionate, you can do this work, okay? And you will be rewarded spiritually and financially. So real quick, how do you get started? In my opinion, the best way to get started is to get as many certifications as you can, because that's what I did, okay? I went and got my defensive driving certification. So I went to the National Safety Council and took their course on becoming a defensive driving instructor. And I went to their website, took their live course, and I believe right now they do online courses. So you can take the online course and become a defensive driving instructor. From that course, you then go apply to the DDS or the DMV to become a defensive driving instructor. And then you can work at a defensive driving school or open up a defensive driving school and teach these classes. All right. And I believe right now here in Georgia, they charge $75 for that class. And then I went to get my risk reduction certification or DUI instructor certification. So you can go to a website called primeforlife.org and take their Prime for Life instructor certification course. And this is the curriculum that the DUI schools use to teach DUI classes. So you're going to get your certification through them. So you're going to take their courses through Prime for Life, and then you're going to apply with the DDS or DMV to become a DUI instructor. So you can teach these courses or start your own DUI school. All right. And right now, I believe in Georgia, they charge around $600 per DUI class. Okay. So if you do the numbers, it could be extremely lucrative for you. Then I got my anger management specialist certification. And then after that, I got my alcohol and drug counselor certification. All right. With the Alcohol and Drug Abuse Board of Georgia. Now you can do that or you don't have to do that. Let's say you don't want to be an alcohol and drug counselor. Great thing about it is you can hire someone who is, and you can hire them as a 1099 employee or an independent contractor to work and do evaluations at your location or to teach your substance abuse groups. Okay, either way works. All right. So there's no excuse. You can't be like, well, I don't want to spend the time to be an alcohol and drug counselor. Don't worry about it. You don't have to. You just hire somebody that does it for you. Okay. And there's a ton of us that do this work. All right. So then after that, I got my certification in shoplifting and theft addiction. All right. And by the way, I'm also the founder of NASTAS, the National Association of Shoplifting and Theft Addiction Specialists, to help people get trained and certified in shoplifting addiction. So after the end of this webinar, I'm going to give you an offer that you might be interested in to help you get certified right away for shoplifting, anger management, and other things as well. All right. So moving forward, you can also go to NADAC to get your certification in alcohol and drug counseling. And that's something you can choose to do or not choose to do. It's totally up to you. There's many agencies that have people working for them that are already certified. So that's not stopping you. Now let's talk about the money-making opportunities that you can utilize in this business. So you can do one or two things. You can work for someone, all right? Or you can start your own program and collect all of the income, All right. So back when I was a defensive driving instructor, I made $150 per class I taught. That was the going rate at that time. So $150 for a 6-hour class, which is about $25 an hour. All right. And then for DY classes, I was paid $500 per class, but that was a 3-day class and that was 20 hours. So that was roughly $25 an hour as well. So those are 2 options that you can use if you choose to work for someone. All right. So you can teach anger management groups or shoplifting groups as well. And that pay ranges from $20 to $30 an hour. Okay. It also always depends on the demand of the class and your certification. For example, here in Georgia, I have a family violence certification, and there's not a lot of people who have that certification. And I'm willing to pay the premium to have someone come in here and teach that class if I don't want to do it. All right. So your value increases based on the value of your certification. All right. I tell everybody my certifications have made more money than my degrees have. So it's very important to get certified in things that are in demand. And it's so easy to do so. You can teach parenting classes. You can teach MRT classes. You can teach values clarification. And you can look up these programs that they have in your area because every state has different programs. So try to make sure you get every certification you can so no one can tell you no. And if you need help, I will help you through this process. No problem. I'm gonna tell you about our coaching opportunity later. So let's get down to the nitty gritty. How do you start your own treatment program? So I'm gonna let you guys know I started this program with no money and I was just creative and I just had some hustle. And I'm gonna share these ideas with you that you can implement yourself to start your own program. So number 1, you can do a Google search to look things up to find out how to start your program in your area. And if you're in California, I'm going to give you a link that's going to help you get started at the end of this webinar. Number 2, you can call other providers and ask them how they did it. Now, I'll be honest with you. Most providers are not going to tell you how they did it because they do not want to create competition. All right. So that is an option though. Some might tell you, but most will not. Number 3, you can call the probation offices in your area and ask them how you can become a provider. That is also an option. Number 4, you can go to the courthouse and speak to the Solicitor General and ask them to help you start your program. All right. If you have a great idea for a program, they're going to be into it, but you got to come with paperwork, meaning knowing your stuff, having everything written out, detailed. So when they ask you questions, you know the answers. So don't be up there fumbling, bumbling, and stumbling. OK, so number 5, or you can start your own program and hope no one denies you. I do not recommend this, but it is an option. I see people that do it all the time, but I recommend that you get a mentor or someone that can assist you with starting your program. All right. So how do you want to get clients in the door once you start your program? Well, call the probation offices. And you're going to call the probation offices and say, hey, can I be on your list of providers? Because most probation offices have a list of providers in the area that can give these services like anger management, substance abuse classes, shoplifting classes, etc., etc. Ask them to put you on your list, because what they're going to do is they're going to give this list to the probationers and they're going to say, hey, call this person or call people on this list and find somewhere to take your classes. Or number 2, word of mouth. OK, if you do good work, people will find you. So you got to put yourself out there. So if you're anything like my wife and you're not a people person and you don't like to talk to people, you definitely want to utilize number 3, and that is get on Google. So if you have a website, I want you to create a business page on Google and also create a website. All right. And I'm gonna give you some ideas on what you can do on Google to make yourself pop up on Google so you can be seen so people can find you. All right. Then you're going to get an office space with some signage. All right. I always put my office on a main street where people can find me. Don't be in the cut in the corner somewhere where people cannot find you or it's hard to find. You want to be out there on a main street so people can find you, so they can type it in Google Maps and find you with no problem. And then you want to network with other providers. Once you get your feet wet, you want to network with other providers, meaning sometimes providers are not able to do this work and they will throw you business. All right. They will definitely throw you business and give you opportunities. So back to the Google thing. All right. Let me help you guys out real quick. Let me give you guys a pro tip with Google. You want to create a Google business page. All right. So let's say your name of your business is Diversion Center. All right. Most people are not going to look up the Diversion Center when they're looking up the classes that they need. They're going to probably look up anger management classes. All right. I need an anger management class. So it would be wise of you on your Google business page to put your business name as anger management classes. That is definitely going to help you because you're going to pop up first on Google. Also, if you have a website, I would advise that your URL be www.angermanagementclasses.com. So it pops up first on Google. So I hope you guys understand that concept. That is a pro tip. Most people wouldn't share that information with you. I'm sharing it with you today because I want you to be successful. All right. Because I want you guys talking about, man, Derrick didn't help me be successful. Nope. I'm going to give you everything that I know to help you be successful because I don't want you guys calling me tripping out. Man, this doesn't work. Whatever. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Nope. That's not going to happen. All right. So that is a pro tip. So how are you going to find office space and supplies? So let me tell you guys. My first office was $99 per month. And you're like, how did you find an office for $99 per month? Man, I was at a co-working facility where you had a whole bunch of entrepreneurs coming together, renting a facility, a whole bunch of startups. And that's what I used. So I had a desk, I had a broken down laptop and a cheap printer that I was using to use, but I could only use this co-working space for 3 days a week. That was their plan. For $99, I can only use it for 3 days. And from that experience, I learned how to market myself. I stayed in that place. I maximized those 3 days. I was in there all day and all night. And that's how I grew my business. And eventually I got my first office space, legit office space for $300 a month. Guys, office space is one of the cheapest things you can find. I always told myself if I was ever in a financial bind, I would literally go live in an office space and then go take a shower at LA Fitness or something, because office space is super cheap, and that's why you are able to do this work. You're able to do it. There's no reason why you can't do this work. All right. And you can even get even more super creative. You can go and have your classes at a library and rent out a conference room in the library. You could rent out conference rooms at businesses. You could rent out a room at your church, a room at a school. There's so many ways you can be creative. Also, I bought all my furniture at the Goodwill and off of Craigslist. I highly recommend you going to the Goodwill and getting stuff because they got good stuff at the Goodwill. Okay, you'd be surprised. Also, another pro tip, I want you to go to pawn shops. Pawn shops are a great way to get supplies for your office. That's where I got my projectors. I got some computers there, and man, it was like pennies on a dollar getting this stuff. So I have a great pawn shop that I go to that's located in Norcross, Georgia. I believe his name is Norcross Pawn. Man, they should pay me for this plug, but I used to go there all the time to get supplies for my office. So there's no excuse why you can't get your office supplied for dirt cheap. All right. Also, my office phone was a cell phone, and it got crazy at one point because I ended up having like 3 cell phones for my 3 different offices that I had. But you can get a cell phone from Metro PCS, Sprint, whoever you want to use, and use that as your office phone. Okay, no one knows. And then I also, let me see, for fax, I use eFax. Okay, eFax or faxzero.com. Okay, for your website, I highly recommend that you use Weebly.com to build your website. All right. And also you want to put videos on your website because our average client is between the ages of 18 and 24. Okay. And they're used to watching YouTube, Instagram, and Snapchat videos. And most of these guys, I hate to say it, they don't read. All right. So put videos talking about which service you provide, what your times of operation are, and give them all the information that they need to get them in your doors. All right. Now, a great scheduling platform that you can use is called Setmore, and you can use setmore.com to schedule your appointments, and you can connect your Stripe account to that so you can accept credit card and debit card payments while scheduling your appointments. But let me give you guys a tip. All right, I only accept cash payments. Guys, listen to me. When you guys do this work, only accept cash payments, and I'm gonna tell you why. I do this because when people come in for your service, what they'll do is they'll get their service and they'll get their classes or their evaluation, and they'll do a charge back. Okay, you do not want this. Okay, unfortunately, sometimes we have people that are shady, so you do not want to accept cards. You want to accept cash only. I will accept a $25 deposit for their appointments to make sure that they show up, and I'll do that over the phone using the card and the Setmore platform to run their card on Stripe. But a $25 deposit, and they'll pay the rest in cash. So for example, if their evaluation is 105, they'll put the $25 down deposit, and they'll pay $80 in cash when they show up. Now I make sure that they make a deposit so they'll show up, because a lot of times you're gonna have clients that they want to pay cash and then they don't want to show up. So if you get the deposit on the front end, that will make sure that they show up. Now sometimes they still won't show up, but at least you got that $25. All right. So it's very important that you understand this. Make sure that you accept cash, because the clients will try to play you. All right. All right. So you guys got that? All right, cool. Let's move forward. So starting out, I recommend that you be a solopreneur and develop your systems and get your systems in place. Learn how you want to do things and set things up the way you want, so you don't have to worry about overhead and having the pressure of bills and all that other stuff. All right. So because that's how I got started. All right. So start as a solopreneur, and then when you get the chance to upgrade and bring employees in, I highly recommend and looking up the 5-minute personality test on Google and giving this test to people who interview with you. I give this test out to my clients, and I also give this test out to people that I interview with. And personally, I'm a lion, and I like to work with golden retrievers. And you'll understand what I'm talking about when you look up this test. You can easily look up this test on Google and get all the information that you need from it. It is a great assessment. I love it. I give it to all the people that I work with, and I think it's great. So personally, I like to work with people who are golden retrievers and beavers. And beavers are people who dot every I and cross their T, and golden retrievers are really helpful and making sure they go the extra mile to help you and your business succeed. And that's what I love. So if you think having a mentor will help you be successful and take away some of the fear and anxiety of doing this business all by yourself, nod your head yes. All right. I hope you're nodding your head yes, because I wish I had a mentor when I was starting to ease some of that anxiety and fear. Well, I'm